Hi everyone! Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. My name is Alyssa, and today's video we are going to be testing out the scientific method as well as solubility. Now, you're probably wondering, what are those words mean? They seem very big and scary. Don't worry, we're going to go over everything, and the experiment we're going to be doing is going to be answering a very important question. Are Sharpie markers really permanent? All right. So before we get started, let's go over those terms and definitions, and we'll do our science experiment. Ready? Let's go. To get started with our experiment, are Sharpies really permanent markers? So for kind of a little bit of background on this experiment, this is actually going to test whether something has solubility or is a solvent. And it's also a great example of the scientific method. Now, you guys might not jump into the scientific method till you're a little older, maybe closer to 5th, 6th grade. But this is all general concepts that you can grow and continue, that will grow with you as you progress through your years of school. And it could be something you guys do early on too in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. All right, some definitions to go over. The scientific method is a process for experimentation that is used to explore observations and answer questions. There are 6 steps to the scientific method, which include asking a question, doing some background research, constructing a hypothesis, testing a hypothesis, doing an experiment, analyzing your data from that experiment, and drawing a conclusion. And then finally, communicating your results from that experiment. Solubility is the ability of a substance, the solute, to mix into a liquid, the solvent. A solvent is any substance that dissolves a solute. And solute is any substance, liquid, solid, or gas, that is dissolved by a solvent. Now, to kind of break these terms down a little easier, so think of water, and then think of salt. Now, if we put salt in the water, we're not going to be able to see the salt particles in the glass of water if we add it. But if we took a sip, we would definitely know that it's not clean, not regular water, and tastes like salty ocean water. That's kind of the whole general basis of solubility. Whether or not something such as our permanent marker on a piece of paper is going to mix or dissolve as it gets put into a liquid such as water. In this experiment, we're going to be trying some vinegar and some rubbing alcohol as well. So those are a little bit of a general concept of it. Once we jump into the experiment, it'll be a little bit easier to go through and see how the steps get played out. And these terms will hopefully make a little more sense. Now, breaking down our scientific method for this particular experiment, our question is, are Sharpies really permanent? Now, I didn't do an extensive background research for this, but based off of my past experience with Sharpies, I've had difficulty getting it out of my clothes or hands when I wash them with soap and water. And I've also had trouble trying to get it off my countertops if it gets accidentally marked on the countertops. And when I try to use disinfectant spray or soap and water, again, it's hard to get off the counters. So based off of this little bit of background research, my hypothesis is yes, Sharpies are permanent and they will not come off the paper when we put them in any type of liquid. Now that we have constructed our hypothesis, you might have a different hypothesis from me, which is totally fine. We're going to jump into the experiment and then we're going to analyze our results. So in order to conduct our experiment, the materials we are going to need include Sharpie markers, 3 small plastic cups labeled water, vinegar, and rubbing alcohol. If you don't have disposable throwaway cups, a small plastic or small glass cup should be fine. Just double check with mom and dad before you grab any of the materials. You're going to need 3 coffee filters, white vinegar, water, rubbing alcohol, and a piece of paper to write down the results we get from our experiment. All right, guys, so I have gathered all of the materials we need right here in my kitchen. So I've already pre-poured my water, rubbing alcohol, and white vinegar. Just to help give visual representation. This is just general white vinegar I'm using that's in my kitchen. Rubbing alcohol, usually parents will have them in the bathroom. Double check with mom and dad before you jump in and start grabbing these activities, just to make sure you have permission in order to conduct the experiment. And the water I used was just general tap water. I had these little disposable cups on hand, so I was able to use that. If I didn't have these, I probably would have done a small glass jar and then would have just taken masking tape to label which liquid was in each container. And then the Sharpies I have, just regular Sharpies. The coffee filters, I've already pre-drawn my circles. So I have done 3 different colors on all of my coffee filters. Now you can just do straight circles, straight lines, color a little bit, however you see fit. You don't need a ton of it on the coffee filter. I just decided to color it in to make the colors stand out a little bit more. But before we put them in, once we've done our circles and we've poured all of our materials into the cups, we're going to fold our coffee filters in half. So half one way, half another. So we're going to do that for all 3. And once we have folded in half twice, we will be gently placing the coffee filters inside our cups. And because of how thin the coffee filters are, when you're coloring with the Sharpies, just put a piece of paper or a paper towel underneath the coffee filter so it doesn't seep into the counter or the table you're using. All right, my coffee filters are ready to go. I have all my materials poured out. Now I am just going to gently place them in here. And in the experiment, it says to let the results test and wait about 10-15 minutes. So I am going to let these soak for 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to come back and view our results. All right, guys, so I have let these soak for about 15-20 minutes or so, and I am about ready to pull them out to see what our results are. I'm first going to pull it out of the water. As you're pulling them out, just have some paper towels down because the water and everything's going to seep up to the top of the coffee filter. And just like I thought, no real change at all here with the water. So Sharpie did not dissolve in the water, which we thought would happen to begin with. So as of right now, our hypothesis stands correct. Now I'm going to pull out the white vinegar, which also to an extent looks like there was not much change to the coffee filter when it sat in it for a little bit. So as you can see, all of my circles are still intact. You can still see all the color. So again, permanent marker or Sharpie markers are still holding pretty true to permanent. Though, looking at the difference in water, or the vinegar in the water, here, I'll do this. Oops, nope. So, in your cup at home, you might be able to see that in the white vinegar, there did look like some of the color did seep out, but not enough to change the color on the coffee filter. In the water, there's not much color in it at all. It still almost looks pretty clean. But if we go in and look at the rubbing alcohol one, I noticed a lot of changes as we were watching this one sit in it. And as I'm pulling out, I can even see color dripping off of the coffee filter. So, as you can kind of see, this one did start getting dissolved. Here, I'll move this a little closer. So as you can see, almost all the pink came off and it started going towards the top of my coffee filter. The results are really, really cool in person. So it looks like the pink is completely gone. Most of the purple I had in there is gone, and almost the blue is pretty much gone too. And it just started going out towards the outer edges of the cup. And looking in the rubbing alcohol little plastic cup I had, it looks like almost it's solid pink from all the color it drained from it. So, looking at our results, as of right now, my hypothesis of permanent markers or Sharpie markers being completely permanent was false. So Sharpies are not considered permanent markers, which as I was buying new Sharpies, I realized they're not, oh, they actually do have a permanent down at the bottom, but I don't think they're making it as pronounced as before, or they're not as permanent as we thought they were. So what were your results as you were going through this experiment? Did you notice a lot of big changes? Were you surprised by the results? I did not know that rubbing alcohol could take or dissolve the ink molecules from the rubbing alcohol. So that is pretty amazing, don't you think? So I would love to hear what you thought of this experiment, as well as if you got similar results, if you had different results from me. Is this something you already knew? Something that was, you knew what was going to happen before it even started? Or is this something completely mind-blowing and you're ready to go tell everyone that you know that permanent marker is not technically permanent? You know that rubbing alcohol will help dissolve and get rid of the color. Love to hear your feedback. Let me know through the website and the post what you thought of the experiment and if this is something you'd like us to continue doing. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks, guys. Bye.